Hi there, and welcome to a very special hangout where we're going to outline the last episode of Season 2 of Greenstar. I'm Simon Cantan,
And I'm Dave Higgins.
and we're co-authoring a science fiction comedy book called Greenstar, which you're probably aware of since this will be full of spoilers anyway. And this is the last episode, which is a big bumper episode of Season 2. So we're going to get cracking with that. I'll share my screen so we can look at the document. Okay. So Josie's in the conference room. So the last thing that happened in episode 9 was that they failed to beat the energy thieves. They went in a big battle, and it all went horribly wrong, and people died, and everyone's pretty depressed. Even Topic couldn't manage to not be. He even put his feelings on hold for a second. Josie's in the conference room with Vesta and both bridge crews. The Earth is going to be hit within 36 hours, so they're at Arcturus. So I took a stab at 36 hours, just kind of, it seemed it gave us a reasonable amount of time. We can make it shorter or longer, obviously. Arcturus is 36.7 light years from Earth. So it would be kind of 1 hour per light year kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oops. I should go back to you. Have I ruined it now? No, it's not.
Now I go the other way. Without any of the upside.
They're just going to be hit within 36 hours. They tried to think of ideas but can't come up with anything. Both crews are distraught. Billions of people just died in Arcturus and they couldn't do a thing. So I presume you haven't read the episode because I only just finished it. But they tried, they tried absolutely everything they could against the ship. So they've tried all their weapons. They've tried everything they can think of. They decide to go away and try to come up with ideas. When Josie is about to leave, Vesta asks her if she'd like to blow off some steam. Josie agrees. They go to the Holotainment Center and play poo sticks together. I'm not sure. I haven't read your episode with the poo sticks in it yet.
Episode 6. Yeah, I'm just polishing the last bit on that, so you should have that soon. Potentially.
So we could. I was thinking we could do poo sticks, or they could battle with axes, or I don't know what the. If we want to repeat the poo sticks idea, or if we want to have them do something else that's more. Or they could do poo sticks and something else, or I'm not sure what's the best thing for them to blow off steam together. Because Vesta at the moment, in episode 9, she's basically putting on a front that she's best friends with Josie now. She calls her Josie, and she's like, oh, this is going to be marvelous when we win, and all this kind of stuff. And she's planning to obviously send her off into hyperspace forever.
Yeah.
So Josie could go expecting that they're going to battle each other with axes or something, and then find out it's poo sticks.
Yeah.
I guess that's probably okay. Unless we have something better.
Can't think of anything.
Okay. As Vesta is about to win, the power to the Holotainment Center goes down. They go out to the controls and find an Olanav tangled up in them. Vesta asks Josie why Josie has them on board. Josie explains that she needs somewhere for the Olanav to live, but they've been too busy to do anything about them. She explains that the Olanav eat and breed like crazy, so she had to split them up. Josie calls Elijah to fix the Holotainment Center. Vesta goes on a tour of the ship. Everything is old and broken, patched together, but it's a view on the past. I wondered actually if Vesta has a family history of being in the fleet or if it's just her. Because if she had a family history, like if her dad or her granddad or her uncle or aunt or whoever had been in the fleet, like it was kind of the family business, then she could imagine her dad running along the decks of the Greenstar or whatever. The Greenstar was what, 40 years old, so
Yeah.
That would be kind of either her father's time or potentially her grandfather's time if they had kids very early. No, she's too old for that. No, that wouldn't work. It could be her dad or her uncle or aunt or whatever. Was a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder actually, would it work as it being if it was her aunt? Like, say her parents were boring, like as she considers them boring, that they stayed on the planet and just were normal business people or whatever, and her aunt was this image of adventure for Vesta, off fighting aliens and all this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If then Vesta is imagining her aunt running through all these corridors and things, and then realizing that her picture of her aunt was BS, that she was actually just bombing aliens from orbit. Does that make sense? Or
It does, yeah. That works.
I just thought of something. So the reason why the Burger Supreme is trying to kill aliens is because of what the Greenstar did 10 years ago. So therefore, if she did have an aunt that was in the Burger Supreme, they wouldn't be fighting aliens at least. Unless we could say that they were fighting aliens, but it was before they decided to kill all aliens on sight. Does that make sense?
It does.
And then Vesta could be thinking, well, her aunt was a hero because they actually tried to negotiate with aliens and stuff like that. But she's just bombing them from orbit, and she's not a patch on her aunt, which is a kind of a different angle of melancholy on the whole thing. So she finds two special forces messing with an Olenoff and stops them, which makes more sense now if she's thinking about her aunt. Vesta realizes her attitudes have changed. She no longer wants to kill all aliens, just the ones attacking her birthplace. Meanwhile, Elijah is trying to make sense of the holotainment center. As he fixes it, Reyna comes up. She invites him inside. They sit on a beach, but both of them are too depressed to be romantic. I wasn't sure, like sitting on a beach, it could be anything really. I was trying to think of ways of showing each person on the crew, or at least some of the people on the crew, and how they've been affected by the battle and losing. So I thought that kind of matched for them.
Mm.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be. Like, what might be funny and sad at the same time is if Raina says, come on, let's do something romantic to get our minds off this. And they go inside and do something that most of us would not consider romantic at all. Like, I don't know, whitewater rafting or jousting or something strange. And then, like, their hearts aren't in it. Like, what would be the least romantic activity that you could do in a holotainment center?
Something that has to be done on your own. Cannot possibly work if there's anyone else there. Or something that no one likes doing. I mean, what does no one like doing? Cleaning grout?
Cleaning grout. Or doing your tax returns.
Well, I don't know. I quite like doing my tax return. There's a vague satisfaction to actually getting it to come out, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It depends on the country, I think. So doing the tax return in Ireland was a piece of cake. You just clicked a few buttons because it was all computerized. Whereas here, you have to find all the forms that everyone sent you because it's all manual. No, none of them have computerized systems talking to each other.
Since Revenue and Customs went properly online here, my tax return's been easy because it's online. It only gives you the questions you actually need to answer, so there's not much thought. How much money have you taken in? Dunk. How much money have you spent?
See, that's what it should be. Like, Ireland was doing this before I left, which was it was 10 years ago, and Norway is still not doing it now. It just makes no sense to me. But anyway, that's, a complete aside.
Yeah.
So, cleaning grout, I guess. Maybe that's a joke too far. So, Raina says they should do something romantic to take their minds off the defeat. She invites him inside. Then we have like the lines of dialogue without describing anything. Get a deeper, baby, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're cleaning grout in a holographic bathroom and talking dirty, literally. They stop after a minute, and Elijah says he's too depressed to do anything romantic. He would prefer somewhere somber. He chooses Carnival in Brazil. I don't know whether that's maybe just too much of a on-the-nose. Like, they're doing something they consider romantic, which is not romantic at all. So then to go and say, let's do something that's completely unromantic and unexciting, and go to a place where everyone's dressed in bikinis and dancing around in luminous uniform, luminous outfits might be a bit too silly.
Mm.
Especially, what we could do is we could mention something that so they want to go somewhere somber. So we could mention somewhere that is really even more depressing than cleaning grout out of a bathroom. But try not to be too insulting, I guess. Because I was thinking they could go to Butlins, but then there's plenty of people who probably enjoy being in Butlins. That'd be a bit mean to the people who do enjoy that.
Yeah.
How about we get rid of that? He changed it to a hologram of the battle, and they replay the decisions. So it's not a joke, but it's just like. So they're cleaning grout, talking dirty. Elijah says he's too depressed to do anything romantic, and they change it to a hologram of the battle and replay the decisions, trying to find some kind of solution.
That works.
Which will make what happens later a bit odd, but we'll see. We can change that. Mark is also reviewing footage from the battle. He thinks that if he had just zigged instead of zagged, it would have gone differently. He could run a simulation, I guess. Not a hologram, but like a... So he could run a simulation, but no matter what he does, he can't do any better. And then Paul is eating more chili. So we've got like...
Yeah.
Josie and Vesta are depressed. Vesta's thinking about stuff. Elijah's and Raina are depressed. Mark is depressed, and Paul's eating chili. I don't know whether that's too silly or... I mean, Paul wouldn't really care one way or the other, I guess.
Paul doesn't care. Yeah.
Josie and Connor are in her cabin. Connor is talking dirty about getting inside her. Yes, I was kind of unsure about this. So I thought by him saying that, she then realizes inside. Oh, inside. Why didn't we put anything inside? And then runs out.
It works.
It works, but it is too dirty for...
I don't know if it... the bridge works, but I don't know if it fits the feel of the story.
Exactly.
If we're doing the grouting joke slightly earlier.
Yeah, that's true also.
We could have...
We could change this scene instead of... This will change what happens later and kind of loses a joke, but if Josie said all of those people on Earth are going to die in 36 hours and nothing I can do about it, and Connor asks if Seth had children, and then they look it up, or maybe, I don't know, that she read the autobiography, so she should know, unless it didn't mention anything, it was just about work. But if Seth has children, then he said, well, all of those children had children, and there's lots of people descended from you, I guess. And then he could say, what was it like having someone alive inside you? And she goes, inside me. Like, it's a completely different, take on the scene. Because then she'd realize, inside, why didn't we put something inside?
That works. Or, yeah. So I think there's no way for Josie to overhear the grouting scene, is there? Because, I mean, she doesn't have to have the brainwave immediately. She could have the brainwave creep up on her. So your unconscious puts things together in crazy ways over the course of time. But you couldn't really overhear to get it deeper.
I know what we could do. So the previous scene, Paul is eating more chili, and he says, "I can't wait to get you inside me."
Yeah.
Like he's romantically talking to the chili, which is kind of, I guess, it could be a danger of getting too close to the Reina thing. Josie. So Paul's eating more chili. He says, "I can't wait to get you inside me." And then Josie and Connor are in the cabin. Connor's not talking dirty, but like they're making out or something. And then Josie suddenly has a brainwave. Like she sits up, staring, and says, "I can't wait to get you inside me," like, but not in the right way. She just says it, "Oh, like I can't wait to get you inside me," and he's confused and goes,
Yeah.
and says, "That's weird, dirty talk. That's the wrong emphasis for dirty talk."
Yeah.
And then Josie runs out half naked. So we end up at the same place.
Yep.
She runs down to the teleporter and finds Baolei on duty. Baolei's eyes practically bug out because she's in her underwear.
Yeah.
Josie asks if they can teleport something inside something else. Baolei doesn't know, but he can teleport Elijah up to ask him.
Yeah.
Because it's easier than telling him to come. They teleport Elijah up, and he's half-dressed too.
Because why wouldn't you teleport without warning?
Huh?
Yeah, I like the idea that they've got so blasé. They teleport him up without warning him in advance.
Yeah. And then he's half-dressed. So if they're reviewing the battle footage, that they got turned on by that is just kind of strange. So I don't know this.
Yeah, so...
But would it be funny if he was crying? Because Gina's about to walk in. So if Josie's standing there in her underwear, Elijah is like bawling his eyes out, and Baolei looks confused. Is that a funny image? Rather than so before in the outlining, like I just put that Elijah is half dressed, she's half dressed, and Gina reprimands him saying, "Don't cheat on Reina and Connor."
Or...
So if Josie is half dressed, Elijah is crying, and Baolei is looking confused, Gina could come in and say, "It happens to all of us, Elijah. All of us age someday," or something like that. Like making a crack about Josie. Or because we made loads of cracks about Josie's looks throughout the episodes.
I wouldn't say they were cracks, per se.
Well, no, it's the crew basically saying nasty things. Like, I wouldn't, like, looking like a swarthy man, a Greek man is better than looking like Josie and stuff like that. So it's not, they're being overly mean. It's not that Josie is unattractive. It's that they're being cruel.
Yeah. And I sort of... tangent. I think you have a possibility of teleporting some. We haven't really set up that teleporters occasionally do the wrong thing, so we can't have Elijah turn up with half his clothes.
Not unless he was making it with Raina, no.
Yeah.
So if they're studying battle footage, either he's going to be deeply concentrating, or angry perhaps, or he could be upset, or he could be in the middle of hugging Reino when he suddenly disappears and falls over or something.
One of these, if they're asking Elijah whether they can teleport things into things, and he says it should be fine, that bridges out of whatever emotional state he was in before. So either we have to move that to after Gina comes in. So Gina comes in before Elijah has been calmed down enough to explain what the question is. Or we come up with some sort of visual joke. Like Elijah says, "You must be cold," and hands Josie his shirt because he's used to wandering around without a shirt on. So it doesn't impact on him what it's going to look like. And then Gina comes in. Elijah's got no shirt on. Josie's wearing Elijah's shirt and underwear, and Baolei's standing there looking confused. That work?
Maybe. I'm trying to think of... So, they could teleport down to him either. Like, as you say, Elijah wouldn't care about his shirt. He would take it off, no problem. If Gina walked in while he was taking it off, then it would look like he was undressing and she was already undressed, and Baolei's watching, looking confused.
Yeah, so I think if they teleport down to where he is, then either he's going to be in his room with Raina, in which case he'd hand Josie a shirt from his drawer rather than taking off the one he's wearing. And then there's Raina in there as well, which kind of kills the joke. Or
I just thought of something might be funny. So they teleport him to the teleport room, and he's dressed as Josie, but as Heart Attack. Because they were replaying the battle, and he went, no, I need to get in character, and went and got dressed as Heart Attack.
That works.
So then, Gina walks in, looks at Josie and Elijah. I don't know what you think. Josie's in her underwear, Elijah's dressed as Heart Attack, and Baolei is standing there looking confused.
Yeah.
Gina walks in, looks at them, and then maybe just walks straight out again, completely baffled.
Bafflement kind of works.
And Baolei is still... Don't really need that. They ask Elijah, who says it should be fine. Vesta's POV. They have a meeting where Josie reveals the new idea. Everyone thinks it's worth a try. Vesta says she'll hear with Central Command about it. They could even install teleports on the planets. So if the energy thieves... They've got the green burstium on Earth, or on whatever manufacturing places they have there.
Yeah.
And they made some ships, so presumably they're making more ships, desperately trying to find something to defend them. So they could have engines that are half finished that could be changed into teleports. So they could install teleports on the planets. Maybe not too many of them, but at least some.
Yeah.
And they have loads of armaments. After the meeting, Josie finds a mothballed comms device and contacts Central Command. Because I'm guessing that when the Greenstar was a Burger Supreme ship, they had it, but no one's used it since.
Oh, yeah, we've got lots of decks that have things on that we haven't used yet.
Yeah, I was looking at that. We've got an absolute ton that we haven't. It's 100 decks, and I think we've used maybe 12 or 15 at most. Where's the Greenstar? So yeah, we've used maybe 15.
Yeah.
Out of 100. So we've got plenty of places. It could be here. 13. Only Admiral Bove answers. The others have evacuated, but most of the civilians can't. Presumably they've used all their ships for, their bigger ships at least, for the battle.
Yeah.
So there's not really anything to send people out of the system on, and there's billions of people. They wouldn't be able to get them all out in time. Except they could teleport people, but it'd be 30 seconds at a time. So they could be using teleports to get people to planets that are not going to be attacked. So they could send whatever we worked out, 53 people at a time, in 30-second bunches. But that's not going to be billions. That's going to be... But if they change, so the teleportation device doesn't really have a limit on it, is what we said. It could be a ship or it could be a cargo crate. So if we said it was a stadium, or, well, no, that doesn't make sense. So every 30 seconds, so they have to get people there every 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's going to take longer than 30 seconds
to fill a stadium.
But sort of, it takes 30 seconds to teleport people out and then for the teleporter to be ready. But getting 53 people into a packing crate is going to take a while. So, sort of even if they're only using the ones that we designed were sort of packing crate sized, it takes a while. It's going to take sort of
like if they had a queue, like they have people moving in a queue, and everyone like has 30 seconds. So in 30 seconds, the average person could perhaps run, I don't know, 100 meters, maybe. Yeah, that's even enthusiastic. Say 50 meters. So they can have a queue that's 50 meters long.
Yeah.
And then a certain amount of people wide. Like if they had lines drawn on the ground, it could be, I don't know, 100 lanes and 50 meters. And if there's a person every half a meter, say, that's 100 people times 100 lanes, which is 10,000 people. 10,000 people every 30 seconds seems more reasonable, but they have to get the people in place. I'm just wondering, let's see, 36 hours. Multiplied by 60 to get minutes. Multiplied by 60 again to get seconds. Divided by 30 is 4,320 times 10,000 is 43 million. So that's reasonable. I mean, in a way. 10,000 people is so 4.3 million. the teleportation method isn't perfect, so it's not always 10,000 people.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a heck of an administration job to get 10,000 people onto the thing every 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Um,
The current population of Earth is about 7 billion, so that's a trivial amount of everyone.
the trivial amount of everyone, and even 10,000 people into that spot
Mm.
would average. So say they average that it takes them actually 5 minutes to get it all organized.
Yeah.
That seems reasonable. With 10,000 people in place, and 5 minutes seems like a small amount of time. So 5 minutes means that, let's see, go back again. Divided by 300, actually. 432. So that makes, sorry, that's 4.3 million. So the previous one was 43 million. So, yeah, so they're hoping to get 43 million, but even 43 million isn't great. And you can imagine people panicking and just pushing in. And, you know, if you're not going to be in the first 4.3 million, well, then you just attack the place to try and get there. Vesta tells about the teleportation idea. Both thinks it's a great idea and their last hope. Then Vesta finds Oddly and tells her to get to work on the new shielded suit, because there's now hope again that they could maybe defeat them, so she wants the shielded suit ready again. Paul is hitting on Oddly and refuses to go away. This is so that Paul can hear about the shielded suit.
Yeah.
They go to the...
because it's creepy when we do the reveal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that reveal, yeah. We probably shouldn't spoil that, actually, because I don't... Have we talked about it? We probably have, actually.
I can't remember whether we talked about it here or whether we talked about it somewhere else.
So we'll avoid talking about it because we don't need to talk about it. We both know what we're talking about. So whoever's watching this will be going, what the heck are they talking about? They go to the home system and are hit by the social conscience ray.
Yeah.
They move far out to avoid feeling its effects because they don't need to be near. They can teleport anywhere in the galaxy, universe, whatever. Energy thieves turn up. They try teleporting conventional bombs inside. It doesn't work. Why? So if they try all the different kinds of bombs they've got, nuclear bombs and everything they've got.
Well, the energy thieves are... I mean, they can fly through a sun. We've established that. So,
but that's
sort of pattern of energy. So,
but that's the exterior of their ship.
Yeah.
So if you explode a bomb underwater inside a container, well, then the container bursts.
Yeah.
I saw that in MythBusters. So the ship should burst apart, but it doesn't.
Well, yeah, and for the thing with the Olonough to work, it has to be the habitable atmosphere inside, so we can't have it that the ships are actually open to space, so the blast just takes the easiest path out. Unless the ships are sort of not held together. I mean, the energy thieves are fluid in an ionized energy matrix. So if you blow up something that's held together with a force field, it could go whoop, whoop.
Yeah. And it wouldn't necessarily hurt them.
It wouldn't necessarily hurt them. So it's got atmosphere trapped inside it, but the atmosphere is trapped in by force fields rather than physical barriers. So it just blows up like a balloon, and then you let go, and when you take your mouth off the end, the balloon flattens again.
And the bomb itself wouldn't hurt liquid necessarily.
Yeah, it's going to deform them potentially, but if the liquid's a container rather than actually their body, then having it hit by force isn't going to do much, because you blow up something near water, the water splashes around and then settles back. So yeah.
Well, we could also say that they're like sponges. So I don't know if you've seen that thing where someone takes like a sponge and liquidizes it, and it forms back together. And they've taken sponges that are from two different sponges, and they dye one of them just to make it a different color so they can see, and then they liquidize both of them into one big container, and they form into two separate sponges with none of the bits mixed.
No, I haven't seen that. I'll have to look that up, because that is both freaky and interesting.
So they could be the same. They could just form back into themselves.
Yeah. That makes sense. We'll have to potentially do a Energy Thieves POV to have that happen.
Well, not necessarily, because if the bomb splits up, then it splits the ship into, like, expands it up. That they're all looking at it with video stuff, so they can replay that. So they can see that the ship is just filled with liquid, and the liquid is like coming back together. Not necessarily what's actually happening, but you know. So, if you had these force fields holding your ship together, you might also, instead of a spacesuit for a human, you might have a force field holding the liquid together. If you get me.
Yeah.
So then the force field would then push the liquid back into its original form. Because that would be protection for a liquid being. It would be a force field.
It needs to be something the Olaf can get through that.
Yeah, that's true. But it could be so the force field isn't necessarily a shield as much as it's a force pushing them together like a tractor beam.
Yeah, so I suppose if it's some interatomic force, possibly with the addition of non-dairy creamer, because no one understands how that works.
Or even, not necessarily, they could, if they're liquid, they could let the bomb ripple through them without necessarily losing their form, I guess.
Yeah.
It's difficult to know what a liquid creature would be able to do. Like if a jellyfish, which is probably the closest, if there's something that explodes near a jellyfish, not like right on top of it where it would tear it to bits, but like nearby, does it just kind of ripple go with the flow and then it's fine? Because they always say, like, about willow trees, that willow trees bend so much that they never fall over in a storm because they're bending, going with the flow. I guess I'll try writing it and we'll see. And if we end up with a big mess, then we can figure it out. They tried teleporting goo inside. That doesn't work. And I didn't know why. So the goo...
I think the goo is liquid. The goo is a liquid when it hits, maybe. So
Um,
Would the energy thieves just be able to incorporate it?
so
Could
the
we? I mean, we didn't use the idea of depolarizing ionic bonds last time, so could we use that this time?
hmm,
Where the goo arrives and the energy thieves, because they're effectively an energy matrix that controls, so just cause the goo to break down on a subatomic level.
be difficult to convey that from the other point of view, other than just it doesn't work. But we can kind of use that as our explanation afterwards, I guess, if they do a post.
Well, anyone, we're going to have this hangout up for after the season's released. So if anyone goes, that doesn't make sense, you've just copped out, we can go, well, no, when we discussed it, we worked out a justification, we just couldn't work out how to show it.
Yeah.
And this hangout's obviously dated prior to the release date, so no one can say we're making it up after the event.
And Greenstar is very scientific as well, so obviously we wouldn't just make things up.
It is. We've taken two of the greatest scientific minds of our generation and glued them together into some kind of horrific genetic accident, just to justify shit.
You mean the Tyson Cox?
Tyson Cox symbiote, yeah.
And Olenoff rolls into the teleportation room, and Vestas sends it in anger. I'm not sure about that because she just spared it earlier. Unless it gets in the way. Like, if it got onto the teleportation field when they were trying to send more weapons, then she could just go screw it and hit the button. But, like, I don't think she would... If the Olenoff just rolls into the room, I don't think she'd pick it up and put it there.
There are two. And I was thinking possibly that it's if it tried to eat her shoe, she'd probably like kick it off. But I can't work out how to get it to try and eat her shoe because they only go a little bit wonky under the red flashium.
Unless it had somehow gotten pregnant and was going to explode, and then Josie sent it.
Because that gets lots of Olenoff onto the ship straight away.
Yeah, in a big explosion of Olenoff goo. So there's like all these baby Olenoff just suddenly emerge and start eating all of the...
Yeah.
I don't even know whose point of view we're in. I guess Josie's.
I don't think that vastly matters for the outlining.
Well, we've been in Vesta's POV before that, so I guess
So
Josie's
next scene, Josie's, yeah.
She is in charge of the only ship, so...
Yeah. Okay. Everything is orange.
Huh? On my screen?
I know you typed OJV. It's like orange juice vision. That point of view, only everything is orange.
So Josie puts it on the so the thing is mated, is about to explode. Josie puts it on the teleportation device and tells Vesta to hit the switch. Vesta doesn't want to because she's trying to spare aliens now. Josie explains what's going to happen with the old enough. Vesta hits the switch, not wanting to get covered in goo. The energy thief stops tampering with the sun. They send more Olenoff over, so they need to talk to the Olenoff, I guess. Why would the Olenoff go over? Unless they unless they get some way of knowing what's happening inside the ship. They've got no way of knowing if the Olenoff are dead over there or if they're what they're doing. Unless
could they send?
So they send
Marines over.
They could, but I mean, if it's pretty much certain death. Unless they're in some kind of armored suit that means that they can't get hurt. They could send a bot over. Actually, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
If they send a bot over, the bot will have a video pickup and they can see what's actually happening.
Yeah.
The rest of the Olenoff want free food.
Yeah.
And more Olenoff over, and the energy thief stops working altogether.
Yeah.
The energy thief hangs there. Finally, the Olenoff contact the Greenstar. I'm not sure if they could. They're not exactly smart.
No. Well, we've already shown what the Olenoff are doing, so we don't really need the explanation there, so we can just kill that scene.
Yeah. Energy thief just hangs there. Can be in the previous scene. They go back to Earth and unload most of the worthy crew. Audley is finished with the suit, but she's hurried off the ship before she can use it, I guess. As she leaves, she sees Paul messing with it. So I would guess that Josie would then want... So Josie's not stupid. Josie knows Vesta is going to kill her as soon as, or capture her or whatever, as soon as this is done. So she wants everyone off the ship from Burger Supreme.
Yeah, well, they've got the teleporters, so they could just teleport the entire worthy crew off.
Well, that's good. That's a good point. Audley is finished with the suit, but she's off the ship.
Yeah.
Can use it. As she leaves, she sees Paul's messing with it. If she was there with Brinks, actually, that's another thing which I noticed. I thought his name was Brinks, and then I noticed that in the... Oh yeah, there's Artie. That's a picture I found. I noticed in the encyclopedia it was written as Brink, so we need to kind of check when we're finished with the whole season that he's Brinks through the whole thing and not Brink some places and Brinks other places.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have a notepad or something, or I can start something, I guess. Like, you're going to put the season together, so are you going to do it in Scrivener or are you going to do it in something else?
I was planning on doing it in Sigil so I can tweak the code, try and get the file to be smaller, because otherwise it's going to be chunky.
Yeah.
So we'll lose a few pennies royalty on all of it for the transfer fees.
So is there a way of putting notes in, like, can you create a Sigil project and put a note saying check for Brink?
I can add that to my list of things to check. Yeah. It's also another thing to check is sort of you have been talking about the Burger Supreme. I think some of the time we've called it Burger Supreme. So do you want a definite article or not?
So I would say that if it's the fleet, so the Burger Supreme fleet,
Burger Supreme Fleet, yeah.
would use the, but otherwise probably don't.
Yeah.
Josie is about to be captured by Burger Supreme.
Yeah.
Rather than the Burger Supreme. Because
Yeah.
the Burger Supreme sounds like the actual hamburger. Whereas Burger Supreme sounds like the...
Yeah. Makes sense?
Grant. So, Audley is finished with the suit. Brinks is teleported out. He realizes what's going to happen. So if she was out of the lab, she's finished with the suit and relaxing in a bunk room. Brinks is teleported out. She realizes what's going to happen. Runs to the lab and sees Paul messing with it. But is teleported out before she can stop him.
Yeah.
Josie is on the station and everyone is congratulating her. I'm not sure whether Josie would go on the station actually. She could just be on a call with Central Command or something. Josie is on a call and everyone is congratulating her. She hears that Central Command want to talk to her and Vesta. Vesta is on the station then, I guess, if Josie's teleported them all out.
Yeah.
Admiral Bove is ecstatic and thanks her. Bove asks... Bove says goodbye. Vesta talks to Bove and confirms she's activated the green burstium trap. The next time Josie jumps, they'll go into hyperspace forever, as will the NWF. Although the NWF all the ones they had were destroyed at least. So that's a good point actually. If so the human ships work because they got AIs.
Yeah.
And the NWF ships are destroyed pretty much. So that would mean that they could. The only time they're able to. Oh, actually, I haven't told you this because it's in episode 9, I think. So maybe goes to talk to Central Command with Vesta and Josie, and maybe says it's going to be great working together. I can't believe the trust that you put in us. And Central Command above or someone says, "What do you mean the trust we put in you?" And maybe says, "Well, we can make ships much faster than you can. You've just made 5 ships in the amount of time it took us to make 12. So going forward, we're going to outnumber you by 2 to 1 or whatever. So we're obviously going to be the power in the galaxy from now on." And that's when the Central Command goes, "Oh crap, what have we done?" Basically. And then talk to Vesta about how they're going to destroy the NWF. And Vesta says, "Don't worry, I put the trap for Josie in all of the green burstium that the NWF have as well." So she's going to flick a switch and they're all going to disappear. And they say, "Well, that'll only work once." And she says, "Well, then we have to move against the NWF as soon as it's worked once."
Yeah.
They'll only get one shot, basically.
Yes.
Grant. So the human ships will move against the NWF as soon as Josie is gone.
Yeah.
Vesta goes
Back to her cabin, back to the bar, back to wherever they are, and where would the crew congregate? Because
so they're. I guess they would have crew quarters.
Yeah.
On the station.
Yeah.
Vesta goes find Audley in the crew quarters, who says the suit is still on the ship. There's a hubbub around the screen. Paul is on the solar array, moving towards the social conscience ray. Since it's Paul, he's documenting all of it for posterity. He pulls the plug, and everyone goes back to normal. He's feted as a hero. Vesta is furious. She vows revenge. Yep. Josie and the crew are invited down to Earth. Yeah. Do they go, is the question. They're invited down to Earth as heroes. The crew of the Worthy are secondary heroes. So, like, if they're traveling around on a bus or whatever the equivalent is, they have the Greenstar crew at the front, waving to everyone, and then the rest, the special bridge officers at the back of the bus, kind of as secondary heroes.
The back of the bus. Oh dear. Unfortunate metaphor.
Yeah. But whatever the equivalent is, like they're at the back of the parade or whatever.
Yeah.
Paul is the life of the party and up front, I guess.
Yeah.
Josie tells all of them she wants to go to find Seth, but they can stay on Earth as heroes if they want. She just doesn't know. Just doesn't know how long they can trust everyone. Yeah. The crew decide to come back with her, other than Paul.
Yeah.
Paul is intrigued when Vesta makes a move on him. She tries to kill him, and he runs off back to the Greenstar before it jumps. That's a bit vague. So I'm guessing at the after party. So Josie and the rest of the crew go back to the Greenstar, I guess.
Yeah.
Before even the party's over. They're saying goodbye, and Paul says, well, see ya. And then Vesta finds him in the party.
Yeah.
Vesta finds him in the party. She takes him to a side room, I guess. And she tries to kill him.
Yeah.
So Paul is obviously useless, and Vesta is an expert in close combat, that kind of thing. So how could he possibly get away from her, out with her or whatever, or what circumstance could mean that he would get away?
Well, Paul usually escapes certain death because someone else gets in the way and gets killed instead. So, sort of, Vesta pulls out a gun or whatever, takes aim. Someone opens the door to the room, bashing Paul in the side of the head just as she pulls the trigger. So he falls sideways, she shoots a waiter.
Yeah.
Or Paul is very drunk, falls over.
Yeah, or sees food and lunges for it.
Or sees food and lunges for it, or whatever. Yeah, it's... well, is everyone generally going to be okay with Vesta trying to kill Paul, or is she trying to do it stealthily? So if she's trying to do it stealthily in a side room at the party, then almost any interruption is going to stop it.
Yeah. So we could have a kind of a comedy of she's trying to kill him and then someone interrupts it, and then she tries to kill him again and someone interrupts it, and then yeah. Like he's the world's hero now because he's turned off the social conscience ray, so no one wants him dead yet.
Yeah, so she's trying to kill him stealthily. And so she's got to be best of friends with him when anyone else is there. Because they're all heroes together.
So what if Vesta tries to kill him, but then everyone comes in and says... So she hides the gun when someone bursts in, and they say, oh, it's time to cut the cake, or something like that. So Paul then knows that she's trying to kill him.
Yeah.
And he then runs and finds Josie and catches up with him, and then goes up in the space elevator, I guess.
Yeah.
Back to the Greenstar before it jumps.
Yeah.
So I was considering in a previous outline that Vesta would get onto the ship, onto the Greenstar before it jumps. But now she doesn't, because having Vesta in the next season would create some conflict there. But I guess we got enough conflict, really.
It's interesting.
So, like Vesta, for instance, could go to one of these teleporters that they've set up on the planets and demand that she be teleported onto the Greenstar, thinking that she's going to kill Paul, like she's got a gun, or maybe kill all of them or something. And Josie doesn't wait around because she doesn't trust him and jumps at once.
Yeah, so they're leaving the party. Possibly we need to include something there where it's clearer that everyone thinks that the Greenstar crew are just going away rather than actually flying away from the planet.
Mm.
So a reason why they might leave the party to go to the Greenstar, but not...
So if they said...
or Topic with... Josie claims Topic was a big part of their victory, so they want to go and take him a balloon or something.
Yeah, or...
Because we already set up that people kind of tolerate Josie being nice to AIs, despite the fact they're homicidal lunatics.
Hmm. Yeah, is there some kind of artificial intelligence cake that they could be taking to him?
Yeah. Yeah, because if there's several days worth of parties, they bug out of one party to go and spend some time with Topic.
Hmm.
And everyone assumes they'll be coming back the next day for more parties and parades and cake and so on.
So what if they're going to get medals or something the next day? This is like the pre-ceremony.
Yeah. Medals is good.
They have the first day, there's a big parade. Next day is going to be medals. And Josie says to the Greenstar crew, we're getting out of here. But she doesn't say that to everyone else. And then Paul is intrigued when Vesta... So Paul knows that they're going for good, but Vesta doesn't.
Yeah.
So Paul escapes.
Yeah.
has to find the teleportation drive and goes out to the Greenstar for revenge.
Yep.
Rosie engages the green burstium drive. She travels through hyperspace for too long and then finds herself in a white void with no details around.
Yep.
And into that season. So it's kind of a
That,
cliffhanger.
that takes us into season 3, yes.
Yep. Which I'm very much looking forward to writing.
It's going to be interesting.
I'm going to buy myself, I don't know, a book on mythology and read through the whole thing, or watch a load of videos or something, come up with all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah. There's some interesting stuff if you move beyond the classic, ordinary myths. So if you look into the sort of obscure little side myths of some of the countries we've picked, fun stuff in there. So I'm going to put together some intriguing things.
Yeah. Grant, unless there was anything else, I think we can stop there.
Yeah, I think we're sorted.
Cool. Okay, I'll stop the broadcast. Thank you all very much for watching the entire run. I guess if you got to episode 10, you either skipped to the finale or have watched 10 episodes of us talking. So thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next season.